So today for math, we are working on finding factors. Our learning target is I can identify all the factors of a given number, and our success criteria are student understands the fact that factors will never be bigger than the product. Student understands that factors are the numbers you multiply together to get a product. Student is able to identify all factors of a given number. Student Zoom teacher with exit ticket. So you have to be able to do all of those things in order to be considered successful. Okay? So what is a factor? If I'm supposed to identify them, I have to know what it is. Well, they're the two numbers that you multiply together to get a product. So in the equation on the screen right now, 3 times 4, the 3 and the 4 are the factors because they're the numbers I'm multiplying. 12 is the product. It's by itself on its side of the equal sign. Okay? The factors will never be bigger than the product. How do I remember this? Factors fall down, meaning they get smaller, okay? And that is something you might want to try to memorize now, that factors get smaller, so factors fall down, because eventually you're going to learn about multiples, and that gets confusing. So factors fall down, meaning they're always smaller than the product. Sometimes, though, they are the same as the product. So here I have 3 and 4 as my factors, but 1 times 12 will also give me 12. So these are also factors. But I want you to think about it. If I tried 13 times something, would I still get 12? No, I can't do it. So 12 is the highest that my factors can be. So factors fall down. Some numbers will only have factors of 1 and itself, and those numbers are called prime. Some examples of prime numbers are 2, 5, 13. And there's plenty more. I believe 31 is also one. Those are examples. Okay? And so I know they're prime numbers because the only way to get 2, my number 2 there, is to multiply 1 times 2 to get 2. And the same thing with my 13. The only way to get the number 13, my product of 13, I would have to multiply 1 times 13. Any other numbers that I try to multiply by will not give me 13. Everything else is considered composite, okay? So composite, 12 is an example of a composite number because it has other factors than 1 in itself. Some other composite numbers are 8, so it has factors of 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Because it has 2 more factors than just that 1 and 8, it is considered composite. Okay, so this first one I'm going to do all by myself, and then you are going to jump in on the second one with me, okay? So up here you will see that I have my factors check. These numbers are going to help me make sure that I've identified all the numbers in a given number, all the factors in a given number. Okay, so I'm going to start off with number 3, nice and easy. Okay, so I'm going to start by saying what times 1, do you see my 1 over here? What times 1 gives me 3? Well, 1 times 3 gives me 3. Okay, and then I'm going to ask myself, okay, well, what times 2 gives me 3? Nothing, right? Because 3 is not an even number, therefore 2 is not a factor. And then I find myself already at the 3. Well, I already have a 3. It's right here. So my only factors for the number 3 are 1 and 3. And I'm going to write it just like that. I'm going to write a 1 and then a comma and then my 3. And that's my answer. Those are all the factors for 3. So now let's go to this one, number 24. So go ahead, write down the number 24, and I just want you to follow along as I work to complete it. Okay? So 24, I'm going to go ahead and use my factor check, and I'm going to look at the number 1. Well, 1 times 24 equals 24. So yep, I have that product. Okay. So then down below, I'm going to write 1, comma, 24. Sometimes the factors will be in numerical order, meaning they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other times they're just going to be all mixed up. I don't care for today's lesson how you choose to do them as long as you have all of them. Okay. So I did my 1, check. Now I need to do my 2. 2 times blank equals 24. 2 times 12, because 12 plus 12 equals 24. So 2 times 12. So I'm going to go ahead and write my 2 and my 12 and my answer. Okay. Did my 2. Now I'm going to go to my 3. 3 times what equals 24? Well, 3 times 4 equals 12. So I need to double the 4 and I get an 8. Okay. So 3 and 8. Are you guys keeping up with me? I hope you're writing it down. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the 4. 4 times what is going to equal 24? If anything, I'm going to be thinking. 4, okay, well, 4 times 3 equals 12. So if I double the 3, I should get 24. So it's going to be 6. So 4 and 6. You'll notice that 24 actually has a lot of factors. Okay. 5. Would 5 make sense? No, it wouldn't make sense, right? So 5 wouldn't make sense because 24 doesn't end with a 0 or a 5. So therefore, it's not a multiple of 5, or 5 is not a multiple of it. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I already said 5 wouldn't work. 6, okay. 6 is right here, by the way. Then I have 7. 7 times 24 something equals 24. That's not going to work. Then I have 8. Okay. 9 times 3 equals 27. That's not going to work. 10 times something. Nope. 11. Nope. So, and then I already have my 12 here and I have my 24. So these are all the factors and I used my little check to help me. Okay. So now let's go ahead and write down that number 9, okay? So I have 9, and I'm going to have you pause the video and see if you can come up with, or write down what 1 times blank equals 9 is. What is my other factor going to be there? Go ahead, pause the video, write it down. Hopefully you said 9. And I'm going to write my factors up here this time. So I have 1 and 9, okay? And then, okay, 2. Can I multiply something by 2 to get 9? No, right? Because 9 is not even, so it doesn't work. So I'm going to cross that 2 out. And even numbers are numbers that end in a 0, a 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay? 3. Would 3 work? Does 3 times something equal 9? I think so. So go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can figure out what times 3 equals 9. Okay, hopefully you said 3, right? So 3 times 3 equals 9. Do I need to write 3 twice on my factors list? No, because 3 is the same as 3. So why take up space, right? So I'm just going to write it once, okay? Okay, now I'm looking at 4. Would 4 make sense? Again, not an even number, and 2 times 4 equals 8, not 9. Okay, what about 5? Well, 2 times 5 equals 10, not 9, so that doesn't work either. 6 times 2 equals 12. These are all going to be too big, I can already tell. So that means my only factors for the number 9 are 1, 9, and 3. Okay, let's move on to this next one. So, I want you to use the factor check up at the top of the screen to try to do the first one, which is this 10. So go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can find all the factors for that number 10. Okay, well, hopefully you started off with the obvious one, right? 1. 1 times 10 is going to equal 10. So I have factors of 1 and 10. Boom, boom, right? And I can already cross off this 11 because 11 is bigger than 10, and factors fall down. They don't get bigger. Okay, well, now I can think about, well, 2 times what equals 10, right? And this is supposed to be 10. Okay, well, 2 times 5 equals 10. So I'm going to cross off my 2. I'm going to cross off my 5. Okay, are there any others? Well, 3 times 3 equals 9, not 10, so that doesn't work. 4 times 3 equals 12, close but not quite. And then 6 times 2 is 12, this is going over. 7 times 2 would go over 8. All of those would go over. So these are my factors. 1, 10, 2, and 5. If you wrote them in a different order, that is okay, as long as you have those exact numbers. And please remember to write them out and put a comma in between them. Okay, so now let's move on to this 22. Go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can find all the factors for the number 22. Okay, so let's start thinking. Well, 1 times 22, right, is going to equal 22. So I'm going to put 1 in 22, okay. 2 times what? Well, it does end in a 2, so 2 times what would equal 22? 11, because if I add 11 plus 11, I'm going to get 22. Okay, so I'm going to write 2 and 11, and I'm going to start crossing these off of my checklist. Okay, now, let me think about this. 3 times something, would that equal 22? Well, 3 times 7 is 21. If I added 3 more, that's over. So 3 is not going to work. I'm going to cross it off. What about 4? 4 and 22, do those go together? Well, let's think about this. Okay. Well, 4 times 5 equals 20, and if I added 4 more, I would go over to 24, not 22. So that's not going to work, and 5's not going to work. I just said that. 22 divided by 6. Or I could think about it, what times 6? Well, okay, 4 times 6 would get me 24, not 22. So that's not going to work either. 7, not going to work. I already said that earlier with the 3 and the 7. None of these, the rest of these are going to be too high. So these are my only factors, again, for 22. Now, both 10 and 22 are examples of composite numbers, meaning they have other multiples besides 1 and itself. So let's look at this next one. I'm going to have you pause the video once again and see if you can find all the factors for the number 13. Okay, hopefully you started off with 1 times 13 and you wrote those down, right? 1, 13's not on here. Okay, 2 times 13, or 2 times blank equals 13. Well, I would have to be an even number. 13 is not even, so bye-bye to the 2. 4 times 3 would give me 12, not 13, so those aren't going to work. 5 times 2 would give me 10, that's not going to work. 6 times 2 would get me 12, that's not going to work. 7 times 2, 14, and these would be too high as well. So hopefully you found that 13 is actually a prime number because the only multiples it has are 1 and 13. Okay guys, so here is your exit ticket. So you can use the factor check to help yourself. And I suggest you do, that way you don't accidentally miss a number. So you are going to find all the factors for the number 17, 21, and 8. And then you are going to Zoom your teacher. So that way we can give you feedback and say, yeah, you're good to go, or no, we need to go back and look at that again, okay? I will give you a big hint though. 17 only has 2 factors, so you'll write down 2 numbers. 21 has 4 factors. 8 also has 4 factors. Huge hint. So if you do not have 4 numbers written down for number 8, you're going to get told to relook at it. Same thing for number 21. If you don't have 4 factors written down, we're going to say, hey, go back and look at that again. And number 17, I hope you can do that one without any help. That one's the easiest, okay? If you have any questions, please contact myself or Mr. David.